I'm so invested in it that like I've like this is all my stuff, so I'm like, oh, it's like I want to introduce it and everything, but it's like your show. It's
Well, it's up to you, man.
no,
So,
no,
yeah,
no,
okay,
no,
okay.
dude, it's your thing.
What's good with y'all, man? We're back with another episode of Genuine Conversations, man. As you can tell, we're in a different location. We're actually back at home base, but we got my man with me, FINATIC, my brother. How
Bro,
you doing today?
home base is baller. I love this place.
Yeah.
Like it's sick. No, it's great to be here, man. I haven't done a pod in over a year now. So it's and everyone like I get a lot of people like I mean daily asking me to sit down and like talk about stuff and so many people got questions and I was like, dude, if I'm gonna sit down with anyone, it's gonna be Gavin because I mean he's just a real dude. He's actually he's my barber. So it's kind of sick, but he proposed the opportunity and I was like I hopped right on it. So here we are.
Yeah, they're gonna get to see a little bit of the behind the chair conversations we have.
No, literally. There's a lot that goes on that I haven't had the opportunity to talk about, and there's a lot that you've asked me and personal conversations we've had that haven't met the internet or met like all the people that know every other aspect of my life. Right. So it's cool to tie the pieces together in a conversation, in a genuine conversation.
Exactly, brother.
Yeah.
Exactly. Well, I'll dive straight into it, brother.
Yeah.
I know for the most part a big question that I get asked in terms of you, bro, is how do you do it?
Oh my God.
By that I mean like. We'll see you in Brazil, then we'll see you back in Florida, then you'll come get a haircut, and then you
funny.
Don't leave back.
Yeah, I do just pop up. I'm like, hey, like Jake and I coming.
Yeah.
No, man, it's interesting. Like, I'm super lucky. Like, granted, I worked really, really hard, but so do a lot of other people, right? And, their own ways. But I'm super lucky in the fact that at a young age, like I got a good understanding of how the world works and, how finance works and the ability to balance, whether it's travel and work, whatever it might be. And thankfully, I was able to do that at a young age, which now has allowed me to be able to do that fluently at, 18 to 21. But it's super helpful that my job like is to hold a camera around. So, I could be about to go to sleep and I'd be like, Jake, want to roll something? Like, we'll make it interesting somehow. Like, comedy is such a big factor in our lives that I feel we can almost make anything content. But the bouncing around here and there it's stressful. It's stressful, and I think what it is most is it's a lot of money, and people don't understand that. Like, and it's hard because I see people all the time that'll comment and be like, yo, like this kid's got, he's doing this, like he's spending, like he's rich. And it's like, dude, there is so many times where we spend way more than what that video made on the video just because we wanted to have a good time and like show people, something out of the normal YouTube element, especially in like our genre.
Right.
So,
yeah. And that's what I really love about what y'all do is you can tell that you're just as invested in the community that you've created as they are in you. And I think when it's that perfect balance, that perfect ratio, not only can beautiful things happen, but that relationship can transcend into anything. You know what I'm saying?
Bro, no, literally. And I think over the last 2 years, like I've been doing this for, I mentioned today in a video we uploaded today, I had references, first time I ever referenced it. I was like, I feel like a veteran in this space because I've been doing it for so long. Yet I feel like it's also just the beginning. And I've talked about this with a few other guys too, right? Like you've been cutting hair for a while, but you're just now like starting to see like, oh, like I'm not even close to my peak, right? And it's like you feel like a veteran in this, but you've been in it. You've known all the ins and outs here and there, how business works. We were talking about an LLC a minute ago, like how to properly articulate, being a businessman. In your own sense and being self-taught, right? So, and yet you learned all of that. You feel like a vet in the space, yet you're also very understanding that it's just the beginning. So I think that's a really cool way to look at it, and appreciate that as well.
Yeah, most definitely. I had one guy tell me one time, the key to success is your teachability index. If you're always willing to learn and you're always willing to ingest more information.
Your teachability index. That's a great way to put that.
And it's the same concept of okay, well, at the end of the day, if I think that I've made it, I'm always going to move with this idea and this paradigm that, at the end of the day, maybe I don't need to get this. Maybe this isn't an opportunity. Maybe this isn't when your teachability index is fully open, you know, you go into every situation like, what could I truly get out of this? You know what I'm saying? And what can I give to it as well?
Great way to put that, because I've watched a lot of people, you know, start to hit their downfall because they thought like they knew all of, you know, whatever they were doing. They lost that teachability skill. That's crazy. I've never thought about it like that. That's a good way to think about that.
Yeah, brother.
Damn.
I wanted to ask you too, brother. I mean, really, what got you into fishing?
Oh gosh. Okay, so
this is kind of switch of topics.
Yeah, no. I used to not like fishing at all.
Really?
Which is crazy. So my best friend, his name is Christian, and like he was in today's video, and I grew up with him like from kindergarten up. He loved fishing. He always wanted me to go fishing with him. I had no patience. I still have zero patience. I'm terrible with that.
Yeah.
And
that's crazy.
Yeah, dude, it's nuts. I'm so bad about it. And he would always beg me to go fishing, like in elementary school all the way up to 5th grade. And then I remember in 6th grade, it was summer of 6th grade. I don't know what I was doing, but like no one could hang out that day. And I decided I was going to ride my bike to a pond like 2.5 miles down the road. And I was like, you know what? I'm just going to fish. I didn't even know how to use a fishing pole right. Like I had a spinning rod, but I was fishing with it upside down. Like, and I have pictures of that, and people would absolutely flame me if they saw that, because I would flame someone. And I somehow caught a huge catfish. And that specific moment, I don't know what about it, like just like amped me up, and I got stoked. I remember I did that. I rode my bike to Chicken Express, and I left my rod in the water, like with my line out, and I came back and I caught another one. Stoked. I was freaking out. So I went to that pond every single day for like a month and a half and caught these fish. And then when the school year started back up, I had been posting them on Instagram, and people can find these pictures on Instagram, on my old Instagram account. Dude, I look like a jit, bro. Like I'm not even 12, but I look like I'm 6. Like it's baby me. And I hadn't hit puberty yet, nothing. And I remember when I went back into the school year, everyone was like, well, you know, how did you catch those? Where did you catch them? And I had no idea what I was doing. I just got lucky. Like I found a pond that had fish, and like they had never been fished for. Like it was no skill involved at all. And people were like, well, take me fishing, like teach me how to fish. And I was like, oh, well, maybe if I want to do that, I should learn how to fish a little bit more. So I hopped on YouTube, and I would watch fishing videos. Really? And like there was a YouTuber specifically who stood out to me. His name was John B. Like I have pictures with his merch. I went to his meet and greets and stuff. And that inspiration got me into fishing and filming. And then I think people have this, all my original videos are private. People can't see those. Like I can see them. So like a lot of people think my first video ever is this video I caught this bag of bones. Everyone thinks that's like my first video, because I think it's the first one on my channel. It's one of the first, and it got like 4 million views.
I've seen that when you called the police.
Exactly. So everyone's like, he had like a one hit, and like that's what made him big. No, I was uploading for like a year and a half, not breaking 20 views on a video. But I loved it, and like that's what I was uploading every single day for a year and a half. So I'm talking like 400 uploads are private on that channel, and no one knows that. Like no one has seen those videos of me, and I don't know why. I think I privated them like a long 3 or 4 years ago when I was like insecure about people seeing them or whatever. But yeah, it was a lot of that. Like I never did it to make money. I never did it to get views. Like I was like, I'm just like having fun with a GoPro that I got for Christmas and just fishing. And because I did it so much, I got a lot better. And I found, you know, what to do. I gained a little bit of patience at that age. I lost it already. It's not good. And
comes and goes.
Yeah, right. And then YouTube just evolved into its own spaces. Like we got into the animals, we got into the fish, we met people, we collaborated, and then my passion went from fishing to like content in general, and then it went to animal husbandry, and then it went to fish keeping, and then it went into, I think I found my pride and joy, which is really like our shtick now, is making people laugh. So like our videos they're very outdoors, and like they're related to what we did in the past, but they're all different versions of it. And they're just full of jokes. Like that's all it is. Like when I see that we can make people laugh, it's like, I think that's where my happiness like resonates most. So that's what we're really focusing on right now. And I think that's where like the bread and butter is at the moment. And hopefully it stays in that category.
Well, see, and that's what I love about y'all's channel and what you do is, I mean, I know you off the camera more than I do on the camera.
Yeah.
And
No,
you're the same
literally.
person regardless.
Yeah.
You know what I'm saying? So seeing that the humor is genuine and all the jokes and just the way that you are, bro, like, that's a question I also had, you know, is I know you talked to me about having, you know, some form of insecurities in the very beginning. Like, how did you overcome it now to just being truly yourself in all aspects, man?
Bro, yeah. And dude, I'm sure you dealt with this too, because, I mean, starting into anything, especially like cutting hair, like, dude, you got to be worried. Like, I don't know how you do that. Like, that's crazy. Like, I'm messing with someone's hair, like, a lot of people, that's their pride, bro.
Literally.
So like you gotta know your shit. I can't imagine starting.
Yeah.
Like that's hard.
Yeah.
So I'm sure you've dealt with this in your own ways.
Yeah.
And with me, I always looked at like hate comments, and it was very rare that I got them, but it's one of those things in life where you have all these moments, yet you choose to look at the worst ones. And I would always do that. Yet somehow I stayed consistent. I think it's just I loved what I did.
Yeah.
And I think when anyone finds that it's something they love to do, they'll stay consistent regardless. But it definitely got to me. And there was a period in time when we were age restricted on YouTube for like almost a year. And that was, I think, the biggest thing I ever overcame. Everyone I was surrounded with, you know, my peers that were in, you know, the same industry we were in, were all, everyone was like, how did you continue uploading? Because we were making no money, right? And I was having, like, I had to take care of Jake One. Like, I had people who relied on me.
You had to still keep it at that level.
Exactly. So we had to keep creating quality content with making no money, me running dry. Like, I ran down to, like, my last, like, I can't do this anymore. Like, I can't make my car payment type of situation. And then finally YouTube had lifted that. And, dude, that was a brutal, I think it was 8 months to a year that we went through. And I don't think people understand, like, how difficult it was to create content while going through that, because we were accustomed to getting anywhere between 80 and, you know, 200,000 views, 80,000 and 200,000. And it just dropped to, if we broke 20K, that was a good day. And it's like that, I mean, it takes so much away from, you know, you're trying to create something for, you know, a mass audience to see, and then you see it just absolutely, you know, trickle down.
Right.
And I went through that with Jake One, and I had a little bit of the time when it started, I had a prior videographer that, I mean, he was in that situation. My girlfriend at the time, like, she was like, the people who were surrounded by me, luckily I had like great peers that brought me up through those situations, because it was tough. Like, this was my life, my everything, and I was like, oh, I'm not really gonna be able to do this anymore. So it was a difficult situation to overcome. But I mean, dude, look at us now. I mean, I'm glad I did.
Yeah.
You know, thank God. So,
and they always say, you know, pressure builds diamonds, and situations like that definitely are gonna make you look within.
No, 100%. Yeah, no, absolutely. And I think that goes, you know, for a lot of things with like a bunch of different people. Like, everyone has very similar problems, just like in their own way, and we all kind of deal with them in our own version that have similarities, right? So I think a lot of people can learn from each other's problems, even if it's, you know, it could be a completely different, you know, related thing. It could be work compared to a relationship, but the solutions always some way you know, form self-development. I think people need to pay attention to that, because that's where, I mean, at the end of the day, it builds a lot of character, and, you know, you're going to go through life, so it's important you get through that stuff.
Yeah, most definitely.
No, I'm right there with you, man.
And I know you touched on this. Is just a little controversial, but I have to know. So this is just, I have to know. And I know they want to know. So it's like, I'm going to be the one to do it. I don't know who's going to be. I'm going to be the one to do it, bro. I'm the one to do
That's
it, okay?
funny. Oh,
but
shit.
I seen that you and your former girlfriend, y'all split up.
Yeah, we did. Which is, oh man, it's funny. Well, it's not funny. It's not funny at all, but it's interesting, because I had a very public relationship, and I can talk on this like so much to where, you know, I don't hurt anyone else's feelings. You know, you can only get so personal, right, before it's too personal online. But luckily I'm very open, and there's nothing bad I have to say. But I had a super public relationship for 5 years.
Yeah.
I didn't make this mistake. I wouldn't call it a mistake, but I did let it happen. I let a lot of who watch us, and not that we're not a huge channel compared to all these people, but I'm thankful enough that we do have a lot of loyal people who are very invested in what we do and how we do it, and it means the absolute world to me. And I let them get attached to another character, which is now my ex-girlfriend, and she was a very prominent character, like, in my career. People saw her. I mean, people initially, when we had introduced her, people didn't really like her. And then over time, after, like, people got accustomed to her always being in content, you know, they found, you know, whatever they could in her that they enjoyed. And towards, you know, the end of our relationship, people absolutely loved her on YouTube. Yeah. I will definitely say this, like, absolutely love the girl, have nothing bad to say about her. A lot of people have tried to stir up things in their own way.
That's the media.
And people have commented all over her stuff, and people have commented all over my stuff. But like I said, I absolutely love that girl. That was like I was gonna get engaged.
Really?
Yeah, I was gonna get engaged at the end of last year. See, this is all stuff like people have no idea.
Yeah, I'm shook. Yeah,
I haven't mentioned any of that stuff. But I was gonna get engaged, and then I married this year. But I mean, as you see, that didn't happen. Yeah. And you know, it has its own reasons. But I'm not ever gonna bash that girl or hate on her. Like, if she were to ever call me to need absolutely anything, like, I would be there in a heartbeat. Yeah. But I just don't think it was our time. And a lot of people, whenever we did split, and they noticed that we did, they would either hate on her, or I mean, a lot of people hated on me too. And actually a lot. And really? It was very interesting because people were, you know, tagging her all over this stuff, or referencing that I was talking to this person, or you know, this, that, and the other, and trying to make it drama that it wasn't. And that's what I didn't like, because I didn't want her to get hurt in any way by any of that stuff. I mean, at the end of the day, it's all love, and there's no need to burn any bridges. So, but no, we did break up in December, and you know, who knows what the future has, but it was an interesting one. I haven't touched on it really at all, and everyone, I get asked at least 4 or 5 times a day about it, and it's been 5 months now, 6 months. And if I post, like, I get asked 100 times in a day. So it's like, it's all over our stuff. So no, that's all with that. I did have another girl that I was in a relationship with after for a little while, which a lot of people still think I am. And I haven't talked much about that either, but I'm not in a relationship. I'm a single man.
That man is free. That man is free.
That man is free. No, I am like a free man. Just the only thing I focus on doing is making these videos and speaking Spanish. I've been trying to learn Spanish, been trying to become fluent in Spanish, which sucks because I did have a fluent Puerto Rican girlfriend, and I no longer do. Yeah. So that would have been a great time to learn then, because I'm looking for someone to speak Spanish with me, and no one does. So
Spanish speakers.
It hit me up. Like, I'm flying to Puerto Rico on Monday, and I'm so excited because I'm like, I need to immerse myself in the environment to get better. And I got Bad Bunny concert tickets and all this, so I was like, I gotta get into the culture, man.
He told me, Jaquan told me there were fireworks inside of the Heat Arena.
The Bad Bunny concert we went to in Miami was awesome. And, like, to be honest with you, I didn't understand anything. So I am a beginner in Spanish. I could probably understand more now, but, like, I understood nothing. And I somehow found myself having the best time on the planet. First off, there was an abundance of Puerto Rican women, and I loved that. Follow up with that, he put on a great show. There was fireworks. A stage came down from the sky. I was like, yo, what is happening? Yeah. Like, I walked out to get food. I came back and he was flying. I was like, dude, how did you do that? So he came in a horse like 10 minutes later. I was like, the horse, how is the horse good? Everyone's screaming. Yeah, like, it was interesting. So whenever I found out that he was performing again in Puerto Rico, which he is a Puerto Rican artist, so I know it's gonna be crazy there. I was like, I gotta go. And luckily I have a few Puerto Rican friends too out there that I was like, I would come on out with us. Like, it would be, I don't go out. Like, I don't go out at all. That's something a lot of people also ask, like, all the time. Like, do you drink? Do you smoke? Like, I don't drink. I very rarely. Like, it's very, very rare. I've never smoked or anything. I don't go out. So, like, me going to a concert, that's a step.
That's a step.
That's a step.
Yeah.
Like I don't do that either.
Yeah.
So it's it'll be fun. So the only thing I do, I focused on now that I'm single is just making these videos and trying to get fluent in Spanish. And then one other thing that I haven't really mentioned too much online. But yeah, it's interesting.
And so tell me also, bro, about like, because I know probably wanting to learn Spanish and wanting to immerse yourself in the culture is something that you've been in a lot of different places in terms of different cultures, different morals, different ethics, different religion, different speech. And so, I mean, what for you do you take away from whenever you leave these countries and you leave these places?
So this is why I really started taking learning Spanish seriously, is because every time I would leave these places, which most of the places we've been are Spanish-speaking communities, I've always found myself so sad at the fact that I just did not understand a lot of what was going on. Like I could, but I could not speak back. You know, I couldn't conversate with these people. And it's like, I'm with an indigenous tribe in the Amazon. It would be so cool to just bombard them with questions. Literally. Like, I would love to know about y'all's life. Like, half the time we're on the boat, they're drinking water out of the Amazon River out of their hand. I'm like, how are you alive? Like, it's the craziest thing on the planet. And I'm like, the fact that I can't communicate with them, just it broke my heart. Yeah. And like, there was one time, the second time we went to the Amazon, we were on the Guayavari, which is like this little tributary that comes off the Amazon River, and we went to this town that had been like uncontacted. They had never seen a white person before in their life.
You were the first one.
Yeah, first white guy. They love my hair. They love Jaquan's hair too.
Hey, you represented
I'm
us
trying,
well,
bro. Like trying to get us out there more.
Yeah.
And we had went out there, and these kids were so excited to hang out with us, and they spoke a pretty prominent dialect of Spanish that if you were a Spanish speaker, you would have been able to communicate with them. And I was so upset that day that I couldn't talk to all these kids. Like, all I knew was ciao, and that's bye. Yeah. And I only knew that because they said ciao when we were leaving. And I was like, okay, so that doesn't, there's not much I can do. Like, I can ask their name and stuff like that, but like, I want to know about them. Like, they're playing soccer, and like, dude, it was so cool. So I really wanted to learn Spanish then, and then I had also traveled to and from Puerto Rico a lot. It's one of my favorite places. Okay. And that's because I did have a Puerto Rican girlfriend, and her family was there. Like, I had gone there plenty of times with her. So her family was a very Spanish-speaking family, and I got accustomed to that culture, and I wanted to learn a lot more about it. And of course, I chose, now after I'm not in a relationship, to do so. Yeah. But I found myself like very interested in, and I think it's more, like you said, it's more like a culture thing. Right. Like, I really want to understand, like, I think like Spanish music, I love Spanish music. Right. It's awesome. Like, Espanol is the coolest thing on the planet. Like, the people are very energetic. There's so much personality in it. Yeah. So understanding that is a huge thing for me. So I started taking Spanish lessons from like a tutor in Venezuela. Really? Like, so I've been very, very focused on doing that, and hopefully by the end of this year I'll be remotely fluent. It takes a while though. It's hard. Yeah. Everything is gender specific in Spanish. Like, how you talk about stuff, it's backwards from English. Right, so like, you would translate it and it would be very backwards. Yeah. So I'm excited to get better at it. The second I think I could start really understanding songs, I think is when I'm gonna just be amped up. Yeah. Because I've listened to it now and I'm like, that casa, they're doing something in the house. Yeah. So it's it'll be cool. But it's my only side hobby outside of YouTube. And I think at one point I would love to make a video in Spanish, because that would be, no one does our style of content in another language. Yeah. So I was like, I would love to. Yeah. If I took the time to learn a language to do that, it'd be so cool. Yeah. No,
literally. I even seen like Mr. Beast, how he went and
gets it dubbed over. Yeah, he gets all of his channels dubbed over and everything. It's so smart, and I would love to get my stuff dubbed over, but I was like, you know what? Why don't I just learn it? Yeah. Even though it's way more work, it's one of those, like, I told myself a while ago, I was like, what are like something that like really make like a man? I was like, that can like make you just like a really like a better individual. I was like, one, I'd love to be able to drive manual. I was like, not that I probably will ever need it, but it's just like a thing I think I should learn to do. Yeah. And I was like, two, be bilingual. I was like, in your lifetime, like, imagine how much more you can do if you know a whole other culture and language. I was like, if I'm gonna do it, I gotta do it while I'm young, because I gotta have time to experience it.
Right.
So I gotta figure out what the third thing is that I gotta get better at. But I'm sure it's something.
Yeah.
Who knows? But
maybe another language.
Yeah, maybe. Yeah, who knows? French. I don't know. I'll figure it out. So those are the some of the current bigger things going on right now, I guess.
Yeah.
I guess you could say.
Yeah, and also, bro, I mean, it's just so interesting to me how you're like, man, what makes a man? How can I be better? What makes you want to dive within, bro, and just perfect and continue? Because looking in the mirror, bro, is something that I know the youth, bro, like, especially when I was younger, bro, it was difficult. It was difficult to look in the mirror and say, hey, Gavin, you could do this differently. You could do that differently. You could do this better. You know, you could even just completely change the entire course, you know, and do something completely different. You know?
No, that's a good question. I think I've definitely realized that, I mean, you have this, your own way. You have a bunch of people coming in your chair every day, right? And you were actually just telling me a minute ago, like, you've experienced a lot of stuff in which you can now input advice into other people's lives, and that's important to you. I think same concept goes for me. I know I have an influence on someone, whether it's one individual, whether it's 100, whether it's 100,000, right? So if I have any sort of influence and it's to better someone, and I have the ability to better someone else, I think I'm going to take that opportunity. Just because, I mean, why not, right? I have a platform, and luckily, we have a fair amount of people who do like, watch, and enjoy. So if I can not instruct, but provide some value of life lesson to others out there, or at least get them motivated in some time. Exactly.
To bring us together.
A lot of people, they think, like, especially with like filming other people and other people in our genre, like there's competition and there's this, and I want to be better than this person. And like I film with my buddy Paul all the time in Florida, and people are probably like, you do this, this, and this for your video, but you get half the amount of views, and it's never looked at like that. Like, I want everyone to win. Like, I have nothing wrong with someone winning unless they're just winning in a cheap way, right? Like, they didn't work to get, right? Or they're not a genuine individual. Other than that, like, I want everyone to win, because it's not at the end of the day, it's not going to hurt me. Like, someone else cutting, like, it's not going to hurt you. What if you are, overfill with clientele and you have a recommendation, right? And that helps someone out, and then they want to come back to you just because you were able to provide them with a recommendation, right? Like, competition shouldn't always be looked at in a negative way. I think it's much more of a positive thing than people think.
And I mean, even at the top, think about it, even at the top, I mean, it's collaboration. What do you and Paul do? You know what I'm saying?
100%. Right. Like, we help each other, we feed off of each other's energy, we help each other. And a lot of people think, like, oh, like, they just film together and get their views and that's it. But like, it's very important that I surround myself with people who are similar to me, just like you. Like, I'm not gonna go just hop on a podcast. Not that I'm that guy or anything. Not at all. It's just I want to talk with someone who's actually invested in what we have to talk about, or understands what it's like to build character and why it's important. So when I'm surrounding myself with the people I'm filming with, they have some similarity when it comes to our comedic values and what type of content we're putting out and how we are off camera together. Like, what the people don't see half the time is like the best stuff. And it's like, okay, I'm having a genuine bonding moment with this person, and I also get to work with them. That's a blessing. Like, I'm super lucky to have that, because a lot of people struggle with coworkers, and thank God, in my situation, I value and love my coworkers and have the ability to surround myself with people that I truly enjoy. So that's super helpful.
And it's awesome too, because it seems like, like you said, when you bring these characters on and when you bring more people to the audience, because you've already checked it and you've already made sure that they're genuine to the core and they are the type of person that you want to collaborate with, the audience loves it.
No, that's one of those things. Like, I just filmed with a buddy of mine. His name's Two Turn Tony the other day, and it was very interesting because he is similar to me, but much more rated R. So I was very interested. Tony, I was very interested on how people were gonna take that. Like, Barry drinks, smokes. I was like, but like, I don't. It's not that I hate any of that. Like, you do you. Like, I have no problem with that. I just don't. But if you're like a cool person and seem like a fun individual, I'd love to hang out with you. And him and I hit it off, or hit it off camera and on camera as well. And I was like, dude, and it's a different vibe from the regular people I'm filming with. So I was like, dude, this is great. And like, even the other day, like, he texted me just checking in, seeing how I was doing, checking up on the projects I've been working on. And it's like, he didn't do that for content or anything like that. Like, he's just, I try to build a relationship, like I said, with my peers, and it's nice when it's the same concept with them to me.
Yeah.
And I really appreciate that, and I love when people watch us, and whether it's me or Paul, whether it's now you and I, or whether it's Tony and I, it's Jake One and I, and they're like, wow, that duo or that trio is so good. It makes me really happy because those are the people I surround myself off camera with.
Yes.
So it's like, okay,
it's almost like an added confirmation.
It's great. It's a great situation. That was a huge thing when I was in a relationship. I was like, because at the beginning of like my, I guess, YouTube career, 4 or 5 years ago, people weren't very supportive of my relationship, and there was so much judgment in that situation, and that was like super hard to overcome, and it was super hard for her to overcome. So getting through that and getting people, to latch onto a personality and understand their role and why they're a character in our content was very important, and be supportive of it at the end of the day. So we really tried to hone in on that and find a way, to make everyone enjoy, even if they weren't super fond of, whoever's in the video, but they still wouldn't have a problem watching. They're not going to hate for no reason.
Right.
So if I could get it to that, it's helpful.
Yeah.
Yeah. It makes life a lot easier because this, like, the camera is my life. Like, that's everything. Right. And we film absolutely everything. So if they don't like it, it's like, all right, well, that's not good, dude. Right. I was like, because that's everything.
Yeah,
so
literally.
it's an interesting role.
Yeah, most definitely. I know you said a little bit about new projects, bro. New projects. You said Tony hit you up about new projects.
He did.
I know you can't give me a lot, but could you give me a little, brother?
I could give you a little. I hinted on it a few times in a video. Actually, a few videos. I've just referenced that, like, we're going to Puerto Rico, and that's for this project. Like, I'm not going there to film a regular YouTube video. I mean, I might be able to get one done while I'm out there. I would love to take advantage of that opportunity.
Right.
But what I will say, what no one does know, is I guess this will kind of show the size, the scale of the project. Right. So it won't just be me in Puerto Rico. I personally, because this is my situation, and I have to take other people's time, I'm flying me, Jake One, my assistant Brooke out, Paul out, another good buddy of mine, his name's Brandon Jordan, he's another YouTuber, and a videographer from Ohio. I rented a BMW M3, a Can-Am, and a helicopter.
And a helicopter.
A bunch of suits, a bunch of briefcases, and timers, fake phones. Like, there's some
James Bond.
There's some stuff going into this project that is absolutely absurd, and no one would be able to guess what it is from what I just said. But maybe that'll just show, like, it's not a normal YouTube video, and it's not what it is at all. It's actually something to fuel our longevity, is what I would consider it.
Yes.
It's a project that I think will allow us to, if we were to start averaging 500,000 to 1 million views every video, that would totally allow me to, get more capital to make crazier videos, better videos, more in-depth videos. That's at the end of the day, it really does suck that a lot of the time what I want to scale to, it comes down to, a financial aspect. Yeah. And there's only so much I can do to make really dope content. Like, I can't go be Mr. Beast. As much as I'd love to give away all this and I'd love to invite these people out, I can't unless I have the financial backing.
Right.
So if the views can't fully create that to the extent that I want it to, I have to find another route to do it.
Yeah.
And that is what we're doing. That still involves the camera.
Okay.
And I'm so excited. I've put, like, blood, sweat, and tears into this project over 6 months, and it's not like a one-time thing. It's a forever thing. So once it goes live, there's no turning back.
Man.
There's no turning back from it. I'm excited to bring it to you too.
Man,
I have the physical things at my house right now.
Oh man.
Yeah, I got them in. It was the first time I got something physical from all of the work, and I was like, "Oh my god!" Like,
man,
yeah, dude, it's been because I've been working with all these attorneys and all these lawyers and looking at commercial properties. Like, dude, it's a lot. I had to hire a compliance team because they have to handle, like, all of. I mean, so
literally.
it'll be cool. I would love to see what people guess.
Yeah.
That is gonna be because
literally.
if I heard, I would have no idea.
Yeah.
I would have absolutely no clue.
Yeah.
So I'm stoked to get into that. It'll be cool. It'll be a fun ride. Hopefully it can pop us up on that next level.
Yeah.
Because we're growing great right now, but I would love to supercharge that.
Right.
The faster.
Get a little wine in it.
Yeah, right. if I could get that in there, that would be ideal. If I could get those turbos cranking, it'd be perfect. So, now that's our new project coming up. That's what people at least get to know. I haven't said anything to that extent at all.
Yeah.
But I'm
I
so
appreciate
excited.
You sharing it with me.
I'm so excited for this Puerto Rico trip, man. It's gonna be cool.
It's
awesome, gonna be so much fun. So, yeah.
I also, brother, wanted to ask you too, man. Like, I know for me, like, I started my YouTube channel. And when I was starting it, I was at this place of watching all these YouTube videos of YouTubers explaining or saying, if I were to go back in time and restart my channel and I were to do it from scratch, what advice, and I take the advice and run with it. Is there any advice that you would have, for the audience in terms of someone that really finds passion behind the camera and wants to pick it up?
Well, I tell this to everybody, right? Because I'm still learning so much. Like I'm a beginner. It's 100%, and I'll always consider myself that because that's how you grow.
Yeah, exactly.
And like you said, teachability.
Right.
And I think the biggest thing that I have, or what I've found most important throughout making videos, is consistency.
Yeah.
I think it'll always bury back down to that. And it's because a lot of people will get discouraged when they don't see the expected outcome initially.
The ROI they want.
Yeah, exactly. Like if you don't have the ROI you envisioned from the get-go, most everyone will start being inconsistent in some way. And like I get it. Like I totally get it. This is a time-consuming thing, just as everything else is. And you got to really, really be dedicated and passionate, but you also have to be incredibly consistent. Yeah. Like over the last 6 years, I haven't not uploaded for more than 4 days in 6 years. And if someone goes back and finds a space in which I didn't upload for 4 days, it's because a video got privated or got deleted that's why that would be there. Or else I have not, if anything, it's been closer to like every other day or once every 3 days.
Yeah.
And for 2 years I uploaded almost every day, and then I moved to every other day for 2 years, and then last year we started doing once every 2 days, and then this year we started doing once every 3 days, and that isn't. Well, it is hard. It is because it got very difficult. Like, you only have so many ideas.
Right.
But we also started putting a lot more into our content. Like, our videos went from being 8 minutes to 22 minutes.
Yeah, and I've seen that.
Yeah, much different concept when you start doing that. Like, you're not going to post every day now. You're going to put more work into a piece and then, post once every 3 days, right? Because you're posting three videos worth opposed to what your normal was.
Right.
So it's and the YouTube algorithm has also changed drastically.
Really?
Like, they are one of the biggest pieces of advice I could give for right now. It'll always be changing, but they are so long form based right now. It used to be short form. Like, YouTube used to love short form content. Yeah. So like, if you're uploading shorts, awesome. But if you want to upload like actual YouTube videos, if you can get them right in that 20-minute mark or the high teens 20-minute mark, that's where you want to be.
Really?
Towards the end of this year, it'll probably be closer to 25 minutes. But right now, it's right about there. And there's a lot of times like I'll fall short of that, and I'm kicking myself because like I know the video would perform better if I got it in this time frame. Yeah. And a lot of people don't understand that. They're like, well, I know I'd watch it regardless. I know all these other people would watch it regardless. But YouTube will choose to put it in front of more people's faces.
Yeah, exactly.
If it caters towards their algorithm more, right? So they're at the end of the day, YouTube makes money off ads. The longer your video is, the more ads they get to put in it.
Yeah.
Why would they not want to push a longer video? They're just going to make more money at the end of the day.
Right.
So it's one of those things. And it's also great for the creator as well, because the more ads you're able to put in it and the more you're able to make off the video.
Yeah.
So that's one of those things. But I would say being consistent and, as of right now, trying to hit a specific threshold while being entertaining. If you're going to hit 18 minutes, but you really made a 14-minute video and then put a black screen as the last 4 minutes, like, that's not going to help you. Like, it's got to be it's got to be long and it's got to have a good watch time percent, right? Like people need to watch the video, not just because you tried to extend it as long as you could to fit an algorithm. Like you gotta hit the, you gotta dot your I's there. So it's one of those situations. But I would definitely say consistency, man.
Okay.
For sure. Yeah. And I'm sure that, like I said, I'm sure that plays a big role in what you do.
Yeah.
I mean, you can't just sit down and be like, I'm not gonna cut, for 2 months. Yeah. It's like, oh, okay, that might hurt. You know, it's one of because you have repeat clients, like crazy. Yeah. Like you have people who count on you like to be that guy. Yeah. This guy has like people know him as like he's like that man out here for cutting hair. It is nuts. Like Jaquan and I talk about Jaquan introduced me to Gavin, and it was like the way Jaquan hyped him up. I was like, "Yo, who is this man?" Yeah. Like I go to Great Clips. So I mean, is he better than Nancy at Great Clips? Because like she's cold. And dude, I think getting my haircut with you, it's kind of like an experience. It's cool because like you're so interactive with who you have sitting down, and I've noticed that because I've come in when you've been cutting other people's hair, and it's not just with me, it's not just with Jake, it's everyone. Like you love to talk and you love to get stuff out of people and figure out how they're doing, and give them advice, if they're going through any type of situation, and that's what's so cool. Like that's why I'm like that was one of the reasons when you brought up the podcast thing to me. I was like, yeah, dude, I would love to sit down and talk to anyone. It'd be you, bro. Yeah. So I applaud you in that fashion. It's awesome. It's really cool. And the fact that you're like the age you are, and you got a place and you got a spot where you work and you have routine and you understand, you have a sense of business and you understand that is a large priority outside of just cutting hair. Yeah. Like a lot of people think like cutting hair is the hardest part, and it's like, okay, no, how to do that, and you're good as hell at that. Right. It's actually formulating a proper business, and then there's taxes and there's
something that you can scale.
Exactly. Like it's not scalable if you just treat it as something. Whatever you treat it as is what it's going to scale to. And when you start treating it as your own mini empire, is when you start to see things grow.
I tell people all the time, people will take it as serious as you do. People will take it as serious as you do. If I started the clothing brand and I was like, I don't know, guys.
Yeah, bro. I mean, like that, flopped. And that's one of those things. Like, if you guys where do you sell that? Do you sell it online at all?
Yeah. GenuineGrind.online.
GenuineGrind.online. So Gavin has this merch, and it's not like just barber related merch. It's like actual like badass stuff. Like I would see like if your stuff, if I were to walk into a store and see your stuff, I would actually pick it out, which is so rare because I say that about no one's stuff but mine, and that's because I think our shirts just say like really sus stuff on them. Yeah. And like so like
controversial,
that's why.
But I love it.
But your stuff, like it's very genuine, and it's got the most, like, it's got the sickest quotes on them. Dude, I love that. Like when I walked in the other day, I saw that hoodie and I was like, I'm buying that. Jake bought one. Yeah. There's another one, right? Dude, it's awesome. I appreciate that. So if anyone wants to grab some of that stuff, it's like actual great clothing too. like quality wise, it's phenomenal. I would back that. I would back your stuff all day.
We're FINATIC backed, right? We're FINATIC backed.
FINATIC backed. Yes, sir, dude. I will rep that. I'll rep that all day long. It would be cool to do like a collab shirt that we sell.
That might be something that
people would. I would love to do like a really cool type of quote that you have, and it could be like a FINATIC type of shirt. Like we could, we could increment something into there. Yeah. And yeah, dude, that'd be so cool. Okay. I would love to. People would probably love that too. Oh, yeah. I think why is your quality is so good. It's like I would love to have people receiving that. Yeah. Because it's not one of those things where you order off TikTok Shop and it's like, oh. Yeah. Like I got on. I get convinced by that stuff, bro, and then I get it in. I'm like, no. Yeah. No. This is not it. Yeah. This is not it. Do you made a lot of your stuff? Like you went through the process of learning how all of that works. Yeah. Because you were making. Are you making your own stuff right now, or did you finally find someone that you're able to be like, this is how I want it made?
Right. So in the beginning, I was making all of the products on my own. I taught myself how to embroider, how to sew, how to screen print.
That's crazy. That's so much dedication. I know what that takes, and that is wild. Yeah. That you did. That's awesome, though.
But the big reason why is because I always look at something as high as I can and then come back down to ground level. So for me, it was a concept of like, I would hate for 10, 15 years from now, when the genuine grind is evaluated what it is and has the impact it has, you know, I come into the warehouse one day and someone isn't doing something properly, and I tell them, hey, what if you did this, this, and this? And they come to me and say, oh, just because you're the CEO, you think I would love to. Oh, bro, hold on. Let me show you hands-on. Me knowing every leg of this business, bro, allows people to see that it's not about the money. It's not about anything else besides the simple fact of we can duplicate success. We can duplicate, and the things that I learn aren't just for me. You know what I'm saying? And also, too, when you know how it's supposed to be done, that's why I think the quality what it is. I mean, I love, so now we have a manufacturer, and I love my manufacturer because they take it as serious as I do.
Awesome. I love that. We are so similar in that sense. So a lot of people don't know I have a mobile detailing business.
Yes.
And it's interesting because all of the businesses that I tried to create or did create outside of YouTube was all to fuel YouTube at the end of the day. Everything was to create more capital to make videos. Right. And it'll always go back to that. And so I made that as another funding source, and I obviously couldn't run it because I didn't have time. But for the first month, like, I helped hand build, and I learned how to weld. Like, I built this custom van to be able to do mobile detailing.
Really?
And then I also did like the first 10 jobs while making videos. And I'm over here like 6 hours into a detail on a Mercedes Sprinter van, and I'm like, I need to also film today, but I need to know this process for when someone works for me and they are doing it, and I need to know what's going on when I'm in Florida, right?
Yeah.
Or they have a question, or they're calling me, or customers calling me because something's wrong. I know every step of the process so I can help or give whatever type of valuable feedback necessary. And that was a huge thing for me, was being hands-on and learning it for myself before I taught someone else. So like I can definitely relate with you on that. Like this other project we're doing, I'm doing everything. So when we finally get to the point where I can pay someone to take over my role, that way it's like, I can teach that, and I know what they're doing at all times, and I know how it will properly be done.
Yeah, and it's scalable.
So that's how you scale it, and that's awesome. That it's exact same concept with you and your merch. I remember before I had a merch manufacturer, I would go to Harry Hines in Dallas, and I'd find all my clothing there, and I'd be like, all right, this is good, and then I'd have to find someone who would embroider and do this, and I would have to take it there, and I would have to be like, well, I want you to do this, and I want you to do this way, and figure out what would be good quality instead of just like drop shipping something. And it's crazy that like you really got, like, dude, learning how to sew and embroider, like that's a lot of effort. I mean, you were about it. Yeah. For sure. Yeah. That's awesome, man. No, I love to hear that. So you got the clothing going. You're cutting. What are any other big plans? Anything coming up next? Or are you just trying to hone in on this and scale those two things?
So back in the end of April, I opened up and actually partnered with my jeweler, and we opened up a location in Dallas. Yeah, the genuine jeweler. That's what we created. Yo. Yeah, and that's something I haven't even been able to talk to you about it. But
yeah, bro, I have no idea what you were talking about right now. It's sick.
Yeah, so we started that. We do custom pieces. We do grills. I mean, rings, bracelets, chains, you name it. Yeah, it's my jewelry that I've actually personally been going to for over 7 years. You know, he's a family friend. I cut all of his son's hair, and it's just a blessing because, you know, I came in the shop one day and I was talking about, you know, my dream in the future is just, that's why I wanted to create people seeing me as a genuine person. Yeah. Is because, like, when I first started buying jewelry, bro, I got whacked over the head because people saw a white kid with some money and they were like, okay, well, 100%. And what I learned from that was, you know, I hated that feeling of feeling like I got played, when in actuality I was so happy to give them my business. And I never wanted a consumer to look at me that way. And so for me, it's if I can build this genuine, you know, stance and people see it that way, then when we hop into things as lucrative as jewelry and as manipulated as jewelry, you know, we can keep the genuine nature and keep it the right way.
This is sick.
Yeah.
Okay, so that's another project. That's dope. And that all makes sense. Like if I almost try and stay out of the jewelry space because I know I'm just gonna get finessed. Like, because I'm not knowledgeable enough about it. But knowing that you have a concept like that, I would 100%, because I love jewelry. Yeah. I never buy anything like that for myself. But like, I just bought these like sunglasses on Amazon, and I was like, oh my god, I bought sunglasses, dude. I was like, that's sick. I got them in a day, and my mom was like, you got Ray-Bans? I was like, no, they were $11.
Come on,
but they look like
they look fine.
They look like them.
Come on.
And it's crazy because like I like watches, and it's not often I wear them, but I don't know where to get a good watch or where I'm going to go where it's going to be a real watch, right? Or what if I'm going to get finessed on, whatever price. So that's sick. Yeah. That's so cool. And that's in Dallas?
Yeah, it's in Dallas.
Yo.
We're going to have to go shopping.
Yeah, bro. I would 100% go there. That's so cool. When I get back from Puerto Rico, let's go. Okay. 100%. Let's go. That's so cool. So, all right, so that's another project. What else you got going?
And then on top of that, I day trade as well.
Oh, really?
Yeah, so that's been something that I started in 2019 when the pandemic hit. At that point in time, I was homeless, and so it was just another avenue that, at that point in time, man, I was just trying to get out of that spot so bad. I was trying to learn anything that could get me out of that, and so
I remember I got into like the day trading and just the stock market in general right around that time. Yeah. The COVID, the GameStop. Yep. I was deep in that.
Shiba and Doge and the bull run.
There was a point in time when I had $94,000 worth of Dogecoin. Yeah. I was into that.
Man.
I was into it. I only ended up leaving with 9,000, but I was up over 90. At a point in time, it's gonna hit $1. It's gonna hit $1.
Everyone was. Yeah,
it didn't hit $1. But I got super into that. So you're day trading now. How do you like it? Like I've thought about getting into that a little bit and just dabbling here and there. But like you got to be knowledgeable about that stuff, bro.
And so that was the biggest thing. Was it took. I mean, now we're going on 4.5 years that I've been trading behind closed doors. I mean, no one knew that I was trading like that. Yeah. I just kind of kept it to myself because, there's a lot of speculation on if it being real or a scam because it's so lucrative that it can go over some people's head,
No, 100%.
That for me was something that, I didn't necessarily want to present that to people that I did trade until not only was I profitable, but I was at a level of understanding to where I could at least give you something as well. You know what I'm saying? Yep. Because I'm not a big fan of the time when, I love conversating. I love conversating. Yeah. So I love being able to, okay, well, I got this piece of advice and you have this piece of advice, and we kind of put it together like a puzzle. So when we walk away from this conversation, we see a whole image. You know what I'm saying? And so that for me was why trading now is something that I am really pursuing, and I have a Telegram as well with 165 members, and I send signals in there as well as just going over market analysis and things of that nature. Yes, sir. And so that's something eventually for me that I want to be able to use to then not only just not cut as much, but I want to always be able to have my clientele. Like, I love my clientele. Like, when I tell you they're my family, when I was homeless, they would come to motels and get haircuts. They would let me sleep at their crib and cut their hair. Like, when I tell you my clientele is my family, they're my family. So for me, I never wanted to be a situation to where I'm too busy or I'm not able or it's about the money. I have to go up on prices or so. Then I was like, man, let's really take day trading serious, and it's been a blessing, bro. We got funded, and ever since then, man, we haven't looked back. So it's been good.
That is so cool, bro.
Yes,
I love how you just casually slid that in there.
Yeah,
like I'd be like actually day trading, like for real. I know some people who have done some damage doing that. Yeah, like they were about it. They got into it, and it was really fascinating just to hear about it and be like, yo, like that's a substantial amount of cash flow like you have. Like you got to really know your stuff when you're getting into it. So that's cool. So you've got a few different avenues. I love to hear that. Yeah. That's cool that you understand, like you're very passionate about one thing, and like it's your bread and butter, but you can diversify yourself, right? Like at the end of the day, you can use knowledge that you learned from one avenue, and you can start applying it to other ones. And it's cool you're doing that. Yeah. In your own sense, that's so sick. I
appreciate that, brother.
Okay, so you got so you're day trading, got the jeweler. Yeah, I just found out about that. And the clothing and cutting right now.
Yeah. Yes, sir.
Hell yeah. And any other plans, like any future goals by like the end of 2024? Like anything you want to specifically accomplish?
I definitely want. For me, you know, there was a point in time when I had yearly goals,
Yeah.
and this is just my personal opinion, but I love the idea of 3-month plans. So now I'll
Okay.
create 4 3-month plans. You know, I know that all companies, they visit quarterly in terms of talking about earnings and things of that nature.
Yes,
So
everything's
for me,
quarterly based.
I realized that, okay, sometimes, and this is me, this is the goal.
Yep.
And we set the bar all the way up here because it's January 1st and we're excited. And then by February or by March, you know, we'll start to gauge how far we are up that ladder.
Yeah.
You know, and then that can cause you to then feel as though, oof, maybe I'm doing the wrong thing. Maybe this wasn't the right. But now creating these quarterly plans, for me, what it has done is it has allowed me to compound upon myself in terms of the belief level. You know what I'm saying? In terms of, I can knock that down. Okay, now I can knock that down. And now every 4-month plan becomes a little bit greater and a little bit bigger, because at the end of the day, I feel like if I look at the whole image, I could get really
You'll get overwhelmed, bro.
Yes. But if we can condensify, and if we can just focus on this and focus on this and give 100%, like, because they say all the time, like, oh, work-life balance, like, you need to have balance. And, like, this is just my personal opinion. I don't believe there's balance. I believe you give 100% in everything that you do. If you're home with your wife, you're loving her 100%. If you're out with the kids at the game, you're watching the game 100%. If you're in the lab working, you're in the lab working 100%. And whatever doesn't get done, whatever 10% or 5% is left over, you double back on when you get to it.
Wow, that's a great piece of advice.
Yeah.
That is a phenomenal way to put that.
So for this quarterly, right? For this quarterly, a big thing is just I want to drop over 10,000 graphic tees. That's my goal. It's just to graphic tee, and have a situation to where I'm passionate about I didn't know I was passionate about the graphic tees. I thought I just loved clothing in general, but as I dive into, I love vintage clothes. So I love seeing old rally tees and old concert tees and things of that nature. It makes me excited. That's how I dressed in high school. And so now that's something in terms of the genuine grind that I really want to focus on, is just graphic tees. That's what I love.
Wow.
Yeah.
You just gave a really solid, like, don't take that for granted, people. Like, that's like actually some, I mean, I've heard a lot of people speak on goals, and that's probably one of the best versions I've heard. Like, one of the best outlooks on that.
And it's trial and error.
Yeah, you know? No, because a lot of people, like you said, they'll get super amped up at the beginning of the year because they're like, oh, well, I want to accomplish this, and this. And then it becomes extremely daunting, extremely quick, right? And people get overwhelmed. I think you can have a goal that might take you a year long, but break down quarterly what you want to accomplish within that one goal, right? Like, okay, I want to be able to do this. It might take me a full year, but I want to be at this stage by this quarter. I want to be at this stage by this quarter. Instead of looking at the whole picture, really hone in on what you want done by when. And I think I'm going to do that. Like, I'm 100% going to apply that to my life. That's a great way to look at that. And I was trying to think when you were originally talking about it. I was like, well, my current goal, like, it's going to take me longer than a quarter. Well, okay, well, then what I want to accomplish by the end of the quarter is what I need to focus on then. So that's cool. That's really sick, man. That's a good piece of advice for sure.
I appreciate that, brother.
I haven't heard it broken down that way, because that's, like you had mentioned, a lot of businesses operate quarterly, and there's a reason in which they do that. If you can find a way to apply that to your personal business and your personal life as well, and your goals and aspirations, like, why not?
Because I could only imagine, you know, if the CEO comes in at the end of the year and they're doing, it's only one earning call at the end of the year.
Oh,
CEO
God.
comes in and finds out that we're 40% down.
Yeah, right?
60% down.
What if you're able to hone in on that, like 2 quarters ago?
Exactly.
And you're able to get it up?
Exactly.
Yeah, bro. Like, that's a huge... that's a great reevaluation strategy. I love that for sure.
I did have a question for you, brother, in terms of just the social media aspect. How is it that you use the other platforms outside of YouTube to then funnel you back into your YouTube?
So that's something I totally slack on a lot. I do, and I should get on it more, because their short form content is huge. It is massive, like shorts, reels, TikTok. Those are like massive, like growth areas, especially for the type of videos we make. And I think the only reason I don't capitalize on it is because of time. Like it's time consuming, and it would have to be something I pay someone to do, and then it's finding someone you trust to do that, right? But for people who can do it on their own, like I 100% think it's a great idea. It can scale what you do a lot. Like Instagram, I think Instagram for me is just something I like to keep people posted on. Yeah. Like if I'm like the other day, like I've taken working out like super seriously. So I've been trying to get
and I've been seeing Yeah,
I've been trying to get bigger, and like that's been something I've been focusing on. So it's like, okay, like I've been posting progress on Instagram cuz I'm like, all right, so you guys are all involved in my life. So let me show you. I will, 3 months ago you saw this picture, well now I'm here, right?
Yeah.
So I think I use Instagram as like an update an update space and a space for my audience that just wants to see a little bit more of me. But a lot of the time, like you can use Instagram to funnel more audience to YouTube. Like it is 100% possible, and it is absolutely reasonable. Same concept goes for TikTok. Back in the day, I used to use TikTok a lot, and I would capitalize on breaking down my videos and putting them on there, and then telling people, oh, for part 2, go watch the full video on YouTube.
Right.
And there was a month where we went up 80,000 subscribers in a month. And it was the most subscribers we'd ever gone up in a month, still to this day.
Yeah.
And it's because of one TikTok video.
Really.
And it's like crazy. I haven't focused in on that in a long time. And I think why is because back in the day, it was yes, you could convert them, but you couldn't keep them.
Right.
And that's huge. It's like, okay, I don't want to have 2 million subscribers, but average the same views I'm averaging now. Exactly. Like I don't want to do that. At the end of the day, the followers are not important. It's the people who actually watch your content. Yeah. Like that's who is important.
The community.
Yeah. Like we have about 700,000 people just on YouTube, but we're averaging 150 to 250,000 views on every video. So that's my core audience. Like that's where my people are. And that's the number you got to look at. Yeah. And a lot of people who have 5, 6, 7 million subscribers that are averaging 500,000 to 1 million views, that's their core people. Those are their people. So it's growing that at the end of the day. It's very hard, especially with how short form content has affected like the social media industry, to grow in followers. Yeah. I don't like hitting 1 million subscribers is not a huge goal of mine. Like it used to be. It used to be massive.
And I can imagine.
That's like everything a YouTuber wants. Now that shorts are here and shorts are a big thing, if I were to hone in on making shorts, I think that we could comfortably hit 1 million subscribers in 3 months. Yeah. I think we could go up 300,000 with no issue because it's so easy to gain subscribers from shorts. Okay. But you're not converting them to real viewers, and that's what matters. Yeah. So I'm not even interested. I'm like, if I hit it, I'm going to hit it naturally just from making my long form content. Okay. But I do think for people who initially just want to create like a fan base, it's getting a lot better to convert them and keep them. Like they're getting, like the platforms are getting better at doing that. Like they just recently implemented this feature on shorts on YouTube where when you upload a short, you can actually attach it and say the long form video that's related to it.
Yeah, and you can click it, right?
And you can click it from exactly. Mm-hmm. So like that's a big thing now, and that's made me a lot more interested in getting into the shorts. Yeah. So who knows? I'll probably step into it a little bit more. I uploaded a few last month. We might try and upload a few more. But like Tony, for example, everything is for him is shorts. Yeah. He does not upload long form content like that. Like he makes all of his money because he does hundreds of millions of views a month in shorts. Yeah. So it's like, okay, well that totally makes sense. Yeah. And he's also just so well known that it just like naturally works for him. But he's got like, that's what I said, like it doesn't convert. Every short he uploads is a minimum of 1 million views. Yeah. But he'll go upload a long form video and it's good if it breaks 100K. It's like, okay, they didn't convert to like real fans. Yeah. It didn't convert to real people supporting you. Like I've noticed, I remember I was at a convention, like I think it was in August, and there was a kid there so I'll preface this a little bit better. I went to a convention 2 years ago in August, and I met this kid who was like a big subscriber of mine, and he was super cool, like super cool kid, was stoked. He was like, yeah, like I have my YouTube channel, I have like 30,000 subscribers. Like, dude, that's awesome. He was like, I'm posting like short form content. And then fast forward a year later, I'm at the same event and he runs into me again. And he was like, yo, like I just passed you in subscribers. Like I'm at like 1.4 million now. Like absolutely just destroyed me in a subscriber count. And I was like, well, that's awesome for you. He's like, it's crazy how like it didn't take me that much time. Like you're still going. And I was like, okay.
Yeah, like, what do you, yeah.
And he was only uploading shorts, and he was getting all of his views off shorts. And I'm like, okay, well, I could 100% do that. Like, I could absolutely do that, but I'm not. Like, yes, you totally got like a bunch of subscribers, but you want people who are going to be invested in like what you do. Yeah. Like, you want people who are going to see you as a character in the real world. Like, you want people that you're going to run to in public and be like, dude, like, I love your stuff, and like dab you up. Like, those aren't the people who subscribe to you. Right. You just got people who are scrolling through a feed and just clicking like, oh, that was a funny video, subscribe. Like, that was a funny video. And that's how a lot of that goes. Now, granted, there are some people you will convert, but at the end of the day, the ones that you want are the people who are going to sit down and watch a 15, 20-minute video and be actually interested in what you're doing. And that's what actually takes skill. Right. Like, that's where talent comes into play. Like, you've got getting people to sit down for 15 minutes out of their day is an incredibly difficult process. And amongst that, you have to keep them entertained. Yeah. Like, you got to practice and really focus on how in which you're going to do that and strategize. So I applaud everyone who does that, but I think people look at the short form game in a weird way, like TikTokers, right? Yeah. Like, okay, yeah, I for the longest time I had more followers on TikTok than I did YouTube, and I don't even remember trying to post on TikTok. I don't even know how I got the followers. Yeah. Like, I remember just posting like a short video here and be like, oh, 20 million views. I'm like, why? For like how? Oh, like, for what did I get that for? Yeah. I did nothing. And it's like, I want to get that on something I put all of my passion and my effort into, and that's the reason I don't, is because it's a challenge. Like, you're not supposed to be rewarded that easily with that stuff. It's supposed to, and that's how you build character and become consistent at something, right? Yeah. Like, I posted a video like 2 months ago on Instagram. It's just like a reel. And it was my pig trying to find me. I was playing hide and seek with my pig. Yes, I wasn't even. I seen it in the bathtub. Yes. And it got like 17 million views. I saw that. And I was like, okay. Yeah. Cool. But like, that doesn't benefit me in any way. Like, okay, I might get. Yeah, I got some people who followed me on Instagram, but like, those aren't the people I'm gonna convert to merch sales and to watch the podcast and try and learn something out of it, right? Like, I want to be able to make people smile and laugh and have some type of attachment to what we do, and be entertained. Right. So I think that's a big thing. But yeah, back to what you said. I could definitely utilize the other platforms more, and I think they can be utilized well. I think it just depends on what lane you're in the content industry, I guess. Yeah. So it's an interesting topic. Yeah, it's different for everyone. Yeah. That's like, I'm sure there's ways you could benefit from that. There's ways I could. I've seen a barber like on TikTok, and he would go out in public and he would cut people.
Big Blends.
Yeah. Yeah. Him. Yeah. He's sick. Yeah. Like, that guy's sick. He's sick. You guys are actually very similar. Yeah. Y'all like talk. Like,
I actually talked to Big Blends way when I first started cutting hair, and we both started around the same time. We're around the same age. Yeah.
Really? Yeah. Y'all are very similar, actually. At least from the social media presence I've seen him have. But yeah, I mean, he utilized social media to jumpstart his career. Yeah. And it worked. Yeah. 2T. Yeah. Wow. That's sick, man.
I wanted to ask you something. This is a funny question, but I just want to know, what's the like biggest fight or like the craziest fight you've had like with a fish?
With a fish? Oh my God.
Was it the gar?
Probably.
Yeah.
Probably. I don't know. There's this fish called a payara. And it's also known as a vampire fish. And you saw it on River Monsters. It's got huge fangs, and I caught it in the Amazon on our first trip. And pound for pound, it's like the hardest fighting freshwater fish on the planet. And it was only about that big, but I caught it in these rapids in Venezuela. And they are so incredibly strong. It is actually absurd. Really? Like, pound for pound, that's the hardest fight I think I've ever had. And dude, it's just because like I mean, you were not stopping one of those things,
Yeah.
especially in like rapids, like in which we were. Like they're so accustomed to fighting current that their muscles are so strong.
That makes sense.
So like when you hook them, like they swipe at it really fast, so it's a huge hit. Like it's scared, bro. It freaks you out because you're just reeling and it's just doof, and like it almost rips the rod out of your hands. And then you hook them and they just don't stop. I think that was one of the craziest ones, but the gar was so cool, and it wouldn't actually be the gar everyone's thinking of, like the one everyone's seen pictures of, the quote unquote pretty much world record. That one was 8'2".
Jesus.
And that one was it was crazy. I had caught it when Paul was in town, and what made that catch so interesting that I never said on camera was we hooked it in the mouth, but it wrapped around the gar. So when we were fighting it, the line was where the line went to. It was actually his body. It was the back of his body. So he had all of the leverage on us. When you're fighting them by their mouth, you can pull them to you.
Right.
When you're fighting them by the back of them, they can swim away from you. They have all the leverage on the planet. So we didn't foul hook it. We just had hooked it, and then it wrapped around its body. So our point of our angle was much different, and it makes it way harder, like way harder to catch it. And that was a super cool fight because it took a long time, and I was like in the water, like way steep, just like getting like I couldn't
real
stop the
river
fish.
monster
Yeah,
stuff.
it was real river monster stuff.
Yeah.
But I would say the craziest one was the first gar that I had caught with Jaquan and my ex-girlfriend, and that was the first time we had ever went gar fishing. First alligator gar I had ever caught. And this was like a huge this video did great. I think this video did like a few million or something like that. And it was because it was our first real river monster video, and we had went out to the Trinity with CeeLo, who's the guy who goes out there, and we're like in a super remote area, and I made the decision of taking my 4'11" girlfriend, and like in tick infested area, and like Jaquan doesn't like water, like Jaquan's black, like he's just not for him, like so it's like, all right, like I gotta make sure my people are good, like I'll be fine, but I gotta make sure my people are good now. And we get down there, and to put it in perspective, like to catch like a 10-pound bass is like a trophy bass. That's what everyone wants to do, like bass fishermen want to do. To catch a gar over 7 foot is catching a trophy gar. Like that's what gar fishermen like fish a majority of their life, to catch one over 7. So like that's huge. That's when you start getting into, they're like 80 plus years old. So because they'll from 1 foot to 5 foot, they're like 5 years old. But every inch after that, it's like 4 years for every inch. So like it adds up really.
What's the life expectancy? Like how old?
The one that I caught that was 8'2" was about we think it was around 110.
Are you kidding me?
Yeah, crazy. That gar has seen some stuff. Like
that's ancient. Yeah,
ancient.
It's
a dinosaur.
Yeah,
that is a living dinosaur.
That's insane.
It's so cool. I think that's about the max they go out to.
Okay.
About that age. Like that was an old fish, but the one I had caught, it was very, very first time. Like I had dreamed of catching alligator gar since I was a kid, bro. Since I started fishing in 6th grade. Like I had dreamed of doing that all throughout middle school, all throughout high school. And we finally get out there. We're waiting. My rod starts running. I was going to give it to my girlfriend at the time because I was like, we're filming. Like I'll let her get the first fish. And then I was sitting there. I was like, no, she does not care. Like this is, I've been dying to do this.
Right.
So I took the rod, set the hook, and it was so sick because when I set it, like I just got stopped. Like I just got dude, it was so cool. And it just started peeling. What was cool about the fight is I had never seen a fish of like this, a freshwater fish of this caliber in my life. And this one had jumped like right in front of us, and there's a clip of it jumping. And dude, it was like just the most surreal thing, like feeling that power, like, and that was the first one I ever hooked, and we got it in. It was a 7 foot for my first one ever.
That's
so like
crazy.
The guy, like CeeLo, was freaking out. I was like, you don't understand like how crazy this is.
Yeah.
And
because he probably goes out all the time and never sees anyone do something like that.
You get one like that, like, dude, that is what you're fishing for.
Yeah.
And it was so cool, like, just being able to take pictures with that. And they can stay out of water for an incredibly long time, like 16 hours. Yeah. So you
That's
just got to keep
crazy.
their skin a little moist,
Huh.
or else it'll dry up.
Yeah.
So if you keep their scales just moist, they can stay out of water for 16 hours.
That's
So you just get to get them out of water and just hang out with them, and they're like puppies when you get them out of water. They do nothing. Like they just hang out with you. They growl like a dinosaur. But it is so cool. Getting when you have them like that, and I think that was probably the best catch like I've ever had.
Okay.
Like, that was just a dope moment to share with everyone,
yeah.
and I had my people there, and
Yeah.
like it was cool. It was the first like river monster I ever caught. So
The child Brenton was
yeah, dude, I was like, I called
at
my
peace.
grandma. I was like,
Yeah.
guess what? Like I was so excited about that one.
That's
so
awesome. That's awesome.
but no, it was a good pod, bro.
Yeah.
It was an awesome pod. We got a good hour and 15 minutes in.
Okay, bet.
Yeah, we were
Yeah,
cranking,
yeah.
and we're gonna do another one. We're talking about doing another one at my place.
Yeah.
But I
With
would
the animals.
yeah, dude, I would totally love to hop on some podcasts with you. I mean, we do quite a few,
Okay.
bro. Just like get some checkups in here
Yeah,
and there throughout the year, and,
Most
and
definitely, brother.
keep people updated. It's a good time, man.
Yeah. No, I appreciate you for coming.
appreciate
Appreciate
you,
you
brother.
coming on,
Yeah,
brother.
thank
you
you,
know
man.
what it is, man. Everyone that tuned in, we appreciate you.
Yeah, well, yeah, subscribe and
Stay
I guess
genuine.
stay genuine. We'll catch you guys on that next episode.
Let's go.
Peace.